well, when you inquire about joining Fluid, we can go on your Twitter. You have a track record. How often do you tweet? How often are you interacting with people on Twitter? How often are you active on your other socials? How often are you posting? Do you have a YouTube? Do you have a TikTok? Do you have an Instagram short? YouTube shorts? What are you doing other than just sending me a DM and saying that, yeah, I'm consistent? Where are your receipts?
Hello, my name is Minges and welcome to Unfiltered Conversations with Creators. On episode 18, we are joined by Jonny and Chofferrr, the founder and managers of the Fluid Gaming organization. These guys have been involved in esports organizations for a number of years and currently run a strong community and growth-focused operation. We discuss their gaming and competitive background, founding and developing a successful org, managing talents, and the content world in which they operate. All socials will be linked down below, so if you enjoyed our chat, please consider leaving a like and subscribe for more conversations with creators. We've got the boys, Chofferrr and Jonny from the Fluid Gaming industry. Let me ask you the food question. We all start every podcast with a food question. We'll ask you one at a time. We'll start with Jonny. So, you're inviting people over to your house for dinner. Are you getting takeout or are you cooking for them? And if you're cooking, what is it?
How many people? Like, that's the question.
That would change it.
Yeah. So, actually, I'm always getting takeout, man. Always getting takeout. It's going to be a group consensus. Unless it's like family, then I'll be cooking. And if I'm cooking, it's probably going to be chicken parmesan. That's my favorite thing to make. Homemade
Sheesh,
sauce.
Johnny.
Yeah. Homemade chicken cutlets. Yeah. So it's good.
What about you, Choff?
Oh, I'm ordering it for sure. Sure.
What are we ordering?
Do you guys? Well, I mean, even though I'm lactose intolerant, but like, I could care less. I'm ordering Pizza Hut. Do you guys have Pizza Hut there?
Yeah, we got Pizza Hut. It's like
you guys have Pizza Hut.
Pizza Hut here is like the cheap and nasty. It's like getting McDonald's.
I enjoy McDonald's.
Yeah, I mean, there's nothing wrong with McDonald's, but it's like the cheap and easy option. Like, you're down for it.
Yeah,
the later it gets, the better it tastes.
Yeah, and then some boneless bites with the pizza.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, that'd be my go-to. Even though I'm lactose intolerant, I'd suffer 3 hours later. I mean, what's not worth Pizza Hut?
Been on the Discord call with you. There, and that was 3 hours later.
Yeah, true.
The reason I asked you that the takeout or, you cooking for people kind of question was, I was thinking about how you guys have started this org, right? And you're pretty much providing a platform for people. Like, you're inviting them into whatever you're providing for them. So I thought it might be interesting to just see what kind of perspective you got from that. But we'll get to all that later. First, we'll start off with where you guys came from, where you grew up. Like, what were you into? Were you into gaming or into anything else different? We'll start with Jonny.
Yeah, so originally from Boston, grew up in Virginia, recently just moved out of Dallas into the middle of nowhere, Omaha, Nebraska. But gaming's always been part of my life, from Super Nintendo to the Sega Genesis to the Sega Saturn, which probably nobody that I know has ever played the Sega Saturn. But from the Alien series games to, Sonic the Hedgehog. Me and my brother used to play all that stuff. And then growing up, Metal Gear Solid series, that was fire, which I'm excited that they're making another one, or remastering, I should say. And then, I think my online gaming really started when SOCOM came out on the PlayStation 2, because that's when my dad passed away. So I was like, just came home from school, just started gaming. My uncle had to buy me I think it was 3 PlayStation 2s because I just burnt them out. They would not. Yeah, they were not really good. Dude, I was
Get a life.
Oh man, when people say they grind, I grinded that game. I was disgusting at it. But it's also one of my favorite moments because my mom used to yell at me, "Hey, come down for dinner," and she used to tell me to pause the game, but she didn't know you can't pause the internet, so it was like that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That was always the case too. Like, you like, I grew up playing like console games and it'll be like pause for dinner, but then once online gaming come out, my parents would never understand. No, mum, I can't pause this. I'm playing against someone. They're gonna beat me if I step away. It's just like something they never.
No,
Yeah, I felt that.
no,
What about you, Choff?
they don't get it. I mean, I was a little mix of both. I was really big into sports growing up. In the winters, I'd play hockey, and in the summers, I'd play baseball, at least until I turned like 13, and then all year round was hockey. Obviously, with that much hockey, you can guess I'm from Canada. I'm from Perth, actually, Perth, Ontario, not the Perth that you might know.
Yep.
It's a little smaller and not as fancy. Little small town that I've been here since I was born. Haven't moved out. Still doing the same thing. But yeah, I mean, the video games that I did play when I wasn't at the rink or on the field was always FPS. Usually Call of Duty was like the only thing that I ever played. And then if I ever did play something else, it'd be like Mortal Kombat or something with my younger brothers. And that was about it. I mean, my life was pretty chill. It was stay up way too late and play video games, or just hang out at the rink and freeze my ass off when I'm not on the ice. So it was pretty routine. Yeah. Oh, so many late night moments. My dad would wake up at 4 or 5 a.m., come downstairs, and I'm still not even asleep yet. Grinding Black Ops 1.
Yeah. Were you guys into like gaming for the social side of it, or was it more like competitive for you?
Yeah, I think for me it was kind of both. I think when online first came out with that boom of like SOCOM for the PlayStation, Halo on Xbox, I think for me it was kind of just a social aspect of it too. But then once like it kind of like evolved, I guess, a little bit with game battles coming out and all that, it kind of turned more competitive. I would say competitive back then is different from what it is now. So I think that time frame competitive, yeah, I think I was probably a little 50-50 mix.
Well, you, Choff?
Mine was definitely just competitive with myself. I wouldn't say anywhere social. I didn't play with anybody when I went to play the game. Like, I'd just hop on and just solo queue in multiplayer. Yeah, I don't even to this day, I can probably count on one hand in my hometown of people that I actually know play video games. It's a more country, go outside type do stuff town. Not many of my friends really play video games, so I was always doing my own thing. And I mean, since COVID, things have obviously changed with everyone playing video games now, just because there was nothing else to do. But for the most part, growing up, it was usually just myself, just playing it for the competitiveness and just trying to get better all the time and see how far I can go.
Yeah, it's interesting that you say that. It's like a bit more of a niche thing to be doing, gaming in a town like that where everyone's sort of like out and about doing things like that. Did you feel like people like pressured you like to get away from gaming and get outside kind of thing, or were you just like you didn't get that pressure? Or
No,
like that?
I mean, I would say I was very more so. I wouldn't say to myself because I'm a very social person, but my friends understood very early on in our friendships that I wasn't going to be the friend that was going to go hang out or go party on a Friday night or come over for the weekend on a slumber party, because I was usually traveling for a hockey tournament, or I'd have games or a practice or something on the weekend. Yeah. So my friendships were always like at school for the most part. That's when I'd see them. That's when we hang out. I didn't have a cell phone until I was older, so it wasn't like I was, texting the guys, what are you doing, blah, blah, blah. So, I mean, yeah, no, I just, I played when I could, and when I did, I was just by myself in my bedroom in the basement, just relaxing after a game or after a practice or whatever it might have been back then. But yeah, it was more so just for chilling and fun.
Yeah, that makes sense. I mean, I kind of grew up doing a lot of sports and things like that as well. So when I got to game, it was my relaxing time without just sitting watching TV. Like, I always felt like I was doing something. Productive, maybe, arguably, but to my parents, I don't think they pressured me too much to get away, because I kind of felt like I had a bit of a balance doing other things, and I didn't let school slip or anything like that. But how about you, Johnny? Did your mum like realize that gaming was kind of like that outlet for you, or was she?
I think so. I mean, she would tell me, "Hey, you've played long enough. Go outside, do whatever." And I used to ride bikes and do all sorts of stuff outside, play paintball. But so I had that good fair about like equal balance with outside and inside. But she made sure I wasn't like glued to it. But yeah, I had to keep my grades up and all that because I didn't play sports through high school. So if I got a C or anything, she used to yell at me. But my brother could get C's.
You're in trouble.
Yeah, exactly. So I was a smart kid in the family. My brother was the athletic one.
I had to retake a class so I got under a 65.
Really?
I was chalked. I was doing summer
What's a
school every year.
65? That's failing for me in any class.
Well, yeah, that's like a C.
Oh, that's like F. Like the bottom 65 is a F.
Yeah.
Maybe
It's a D. I don't know. I just knew if I got anything like 70 or 65, I had to take it in the summer again.
Wow. The standards are high back there.
Yeah. I was doing summer school every year because I was too stupid to learn a lesson.
Yeah.
and just study.
So when did you learn about Twitch and getting into streaming and competitive gaming and all that kind of stuff like that? We'll start with Jonny.
For me, Twitch?
Yeah.
Oh, man. When did that's a tough one. Competitive gaming I got into when SOCOM came out and kind of just did a bunch of GBs back and forth. There was no like leagues or online tournaments or anything. Trying to think. The Twitch, man. Who did I start watching on Twitch? I don't know. I think I was kind of late to the Twitch scene. I think it was when like Ninja was actually blowing up and Fortnite kind of blew up because with the Drake thing and everything. Other than that, I mean, I just remember the people that I normally watch on Twitch all the time are just Tim the Tatman and Jowo. But I mean, those are kind of recent, but they're not. I mean, they've been on there a while. So, but yeah, I think it had to be around the Ninja thing. I didn't really follow Twitch that much.
Probably it was more YouTube back then, watching videos and stuff like that rather than a live stream, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, no, 100%. I don't even remember what Twitch looked like when it first came out. So I was very late to that curve, but yeah.
What about you, Choff?
I mean, people don't believe me when I tell my Twitch story, but like, so I started out playing video games early on when I was younger. I can't remember who I found on YouTube first, but it was always Pomage or Scum. Like those were the two YouTube videos that I watched. Pomage for the trick shot videos and just Scum for that he always did. And then I gave up COD after Black Ops 2, I think, or Ghosts. I don't know, somewhere in that time frame. And then I picked it back up when COVID happened because I had nothing to do, and I mean, I wasn't deemed an essential business in Canada, so I was out of work for like 8 months. So I got back on Call of Duty. I just went out and bought a PlayStation 4 off of Facebook, and I was like really bad at COD again, and I was like, oh my goodness, I want to get better. And so I just started watching YouTube videos again, and I came across like Swag and Nick Merckx and those kind of guys, and I'm like, and they kept advertising their Twitch, and I'm like, what is Twitch? Like, I have no idea what this is. Like, I'm a 20, I don't know how old I was, and started 23-year-old kid who gamed for all the time growing up, and I never heard of Twitch until like, I guess, started COVID. So yeah, it's been kind of recent since Twitch, and I mean, now I don't even find I watch Twitch that often. The TV I got, the new smart TV, can't stream Twitch on it. I don't know why Roku doesn't support Twitch, I guess. So I just watch YouTube. So now I'm stuck watching Swag on YouTube. He's one of the few YouTube streamers, but yeah, that's my story.
I get that because I went through something similar where I think it was either Ghosts or Advanced Warfare was one of the last ones I played, and then I took a break. I was like getting married, I started having kids, so like I took a few years off till Warzone came out. I didn't know what Twitch was, and the YouTubers that I used to watch was like, I used to watch Ali A, and I don't know, a few other like really old school ones. So I didn't know about CDL like you, didn't know anything about it till I came back with Warzone. And I had a Twitch account, but I don't remember how I had one. So when I was like, I watched Iceman Isaac, took me to Twitch. I was like, oh, I got an account already. Oh, wow.
Yeah, I think I had my Twitch account because of Amazon.
Yeah, maybe something like that.
Oh,
No,
that might
because
be
Amazon bought it after. I don't remember, but yeah.
Did they?
Yeah, because they bought them for like $1 billion. They bought...
When was that, though?
I couldn't tell you. Do you have a side guy that can pull it up for us?
Yeah,
No,
no.
just-
Get like a Joe Rogan, just
Yeah.
pull it up. No.
Yeah.
Here. Thanks, Brandon.
Thanks, B.
Yeah.
But so how did you guys get from obviously being gamers and watching YouTubers and streamers and stuff like that to creating your own org or like starting up something like that? It just seems like it's something that takes a lot of work.
A lot of work is probably an understatement, to be honest. For me, I streamed for about a week, and at that point, nothing ever worked correctly. Every time I'd get on, something with my mic would be messed up. I couldn't adjust the volume. So me and my good friend Austin, we used to play Call of Duty all the time. That's what we streamed, and we were in this one quote-unquote org, whatever. And we were just streaming one night. This guy jumped in both of our streams. I was like, hey, you want to join an org, play Call of Duty, so on and so forth. And we were like, sure, why not? Just to network and the new Call of Duty. I forgot which one it was. It's the one before Modern Warfare. But, man, the drama with these people in this org we joined. And we just both kept talking to each other. And we were like, dude, we got to do something. Like, we'd wake up to group messages of people just complaining. And then one day I was like, dude, playing 1 or 2 GBs is not competitive anymore. Like, that's not how the scenes work. Like, there's all these online leagues, online tournaments, things like that. So my buddy kept pushing me, hey, dude, you're pretty much just running the show anyways. You should go start your own thing, blah, blah, blah. So after that, we started this one thing, because we were going to a LAN. So we were going to a LAN. There's a team. It was me, my buddy, and 2 other people. We were going to this LAN to go play, and then they backed out, and we were like, well, so we changed the name to something. It was Alpha Unknown or something like that. It's like a space theme.
Okay.
And so we went to this LAN, met a whole bunch of people, just kind of saw the whole production thing. It was one of the iShoney events in Texas, and I just got talking to the people about the production, the behind-the-scenes things, and that's kind of like when my transition was, all right, maybe I can do something with this, maybe I can't. Yeah, I mean, that's kind of like the very beginning of where Fluid kind of started there.
And so the people that you were like in that initial org with, or that invited you, were they just like complete randoms off the internet?
Complete random. Yeah. Oh yeah, they just jumped into the Twitch stream and it was like, hey, you want to join so-and-so org? And I was like, sure, why not? Like, I haven't been a part of an org since like I played SOCOM. And that's kind of like when I got really back into gaming and kind of like, okay, let's do something and make it more structured than just, hey, who's online, let's play and do some GBs type things.
Oh, that makes sense. What about you, Choff? How did you start off with the org side of things?
So when Verdansk, so early Warzone was around, I was playing all the time. Like I said, to repeat back what I said earlier, I was out of work for a long time, so there wasn't much for me to do besides video games and golf. Apparently golf was an essential business in Canada for the start of COVID.
I'm going to move to Canada, man.
Yeah.
So I was golfing every day, and when I wasn't at the golf course, I was on the video games. And I know after playing it for a while, I ended up getting a little better at it. And I found that, I had like this small group of like a small squad of 4 that we were like, that was the only people that I played with. Like, we were on every single day, all night. Those were the main 4. And I don't know what it was. We were like mid-game, and we're like, boys, like, we should like start a group. Like, we should call ourselves something. We're on all the time. We all best friends. Like, we should call ourselves. And we were trying to find a name, blah, blah, blah. And then we just started this little group called The Real Ones, or Real. We started to meet more people online, more people in Warzone. Then I was, hosting Warzone tournaments. I was competing in Warzone tournaments, and that kind of helped my network grow a little bit. And just from there, it just kind of started to pick up. I mean, I think we had like 12 to 13 guys in the group at one point. Wow. Still small, but I never wanted to get very big. I just wanted, honestly, just a small group of guys that I considered really good friends, that we could just shoot with, play the odd tournament with, the wager with, just for fun. And that's kind of what it got to. And I mean, I had intentions to, if I can get 13, what would keep me from getting more? What could keep us from growing more? And, we gave it a shot. It didn't work out. So we had some guys that still wanted to stay the group, were interested in competing. Some were interested in content. And this is all very long story short, even though it doesn't sound short. But that's when I reached out to Jonny. One of the main guys that was doing real with me just decided to call it quits. COVID was ending. I was still out of work. The Americans opened back up, so you guys were all doing your thing. So not as much time for gaming, so I needed more help with if I wanted to take that kind of the next step. And so I reached out to Fluid for that extra help. Jonny was super, open, gave me lots of tips, lots of tricks, just gave me a space, a welcoming space in a good community to kind of give me the opportunity to take it to the next step. After a little while, it just came to the realization that, this wasn't what I wanted to do. The opportunity wasn't there. I was accepting with it. It was fine. I was butthurt for a day and then move on. And again, long story short, that just worked out to Jonny giving me a bigger opportunity in Fluid. And that's what we've been working on lately, and what my priorities are outside of my own IRL lately is just getting Fluid to what we want it to be. And, we fully believe that if we stick to our roadmap, maybe one day it can happen. You just, you never know. Like, we never thought we'd be on a podcast, and here we are today doing a podcast.
Yeah, exactly.
It's not a Fluid podcast. Like, we've done podcasts, but they're a Fluid podcast.
Yeah.
So what's that count?
No, that
Now we're out here doing podcasts with somebody else. So you never know if you just commit and stay with it. But that's how I got from just sitting in my bed to COVID to playing video games to joining Fluid. So yeah,
it's all networking, isn't it? There's a lot of different just things you might never have thought of, opportunities that just come up when you just know people and people know other people and everything like that. And as long as you're welcoming with other people and you're not just an a-hole and you shut people off and I know the best thing to do. There's so many different things that come from it.
That's one of the most, I think, underrated things about the gaming esports space is the networking aspect behind it. Because you meet so many people, you come across so many people of like different everything about what you are, just different all around everywhere. And you don't know who you're going to meet, what you're going to connect with. It might be in gaming, outside gaming. Like, it's just, I think it's the most underrated aspect of the entire industry that people really don't understand. Maybe people understood it more during COVID because everybody was kind of locked down and online and, they had all that Zoom stuff. But I still don't think like that even got close to what gaming actually is. No. On an online space.
How did you guys actually connect? Like, how did you guys get to know each other and find each other in the space anyway through the Fluid stuff?
Do you want to go, Jonny? Or you want me to explain?
It's up to you. You can go ahead.
Is there two different stories here, or is it the one?
It depends. Yeah, it depends if it's two different stories. I'll go first, Jonny. So
Fluid was you go.
Early. Yeah, Fluid. I still don't remember that to this day. I'll need DMs for it, but I deleted them when I started. Yeah, exactly. I started with a small org called Zealous Gaming. Honestly, my time there didn't last long. I can't remember why. My memory isn't great. So if we're asking some old stuff from a while ago, I won't remember. My memory is brutal.
That's fine.
But it was never bad. Jeff, the previous owner, is he still the owner of Zealous, or did he sell it?
Nah, he sold it to somebody else.
Yeah, he sold it. So Jeff, I have nothing bad to say about Jeff. He was fantastic. He got me on my start to my first org, and everything that I've learned in terms of content came from him to start. So that was fantastic. I moved on from there and joined Carnage Gaming, who Jonny can describe better who Carnage is. They're kind of like a overseer of a bunch of different things, right, Jonny? Is that how you would explain it?
Yeah.
And so they oversee
Is that
bunch of different
Carnage
orgs.
Clan? KR.
No,
okay.
No, not the K. It's
No,
a C.
no.
Yeah.
Okay.
No, I
But
didn't get dropped from Carnage.
They're actually. I'll go into the detail of them later because it connects how Fluid.
I mean,
kind of
I'm
brought
sure
up.
Brandon can pop who they up here.
Yeah.
As well. But yeah, super awesome guys. Ivan was nothing but, again, just super welcoming. It was my fault, and I hate how I started in my, I guess you could say, my competitive or my content or whatever it was. I was super bad at networking. I was super bad at, socialism. Super bad at just making connections, I guess you could say, or missing out on opportunities. I think we had a fantastic opportunity with Carnage Gaming, and I just kind of went through the motions, or just was too much focused on just the gaming side of parts instead of, trying to build a brand side of part. And so I don't know what changed. And then Fluid came up, and I was like, okay, like, I think this is more for us. There was other factors of Carnage that, I'm not going to go into today. Nothing bad, just things that just didn't vibe with me and the type of person I am. So I saw what Fluid was doing on Twitter, and they seemed super fun, super cool. So I just reached out and was like, so what do you want to do here? And he's like, what do you want to do? And I'm like, well, I'm with Carnage. Do you care if I drop them and I come to you guys? And they're like, sure, do what you want, from my recollection. So
Pretty much.
Jonny probably has a better side of the story of it. Like I said, I'm bad with memories. So
No, yeah. So I'm gonna rewind it a little bit and then fast forward up to where the real ones kind of joined Fluid. But so when we were after the LAN, we had buddies. We were Alpha Unknown. We were trying to do all this. One of my friends, Mason, was talking to Ivan that owned Carnage Gaming at the Ishoni. I think it was the 20K at the time. And they had a Call of Duty team there. They won it. They came back from a 0-3 and beat, I think it was 3 Kings or something like that. But awesome series. Was talking to Ivan at the time, and then somebody that was in Fluid way back when we started. I think we're 4 years old now, 4.5 or something. But Mason didn't get along with him, so he kind of broke off, made his own org. Kind of teamed up with Ivan. Ivan was like, yeah, sure, let's do this partnership, blah, blah, blah. This is what you can do for me, and I can do this in exchange for all of that. So I was like, this sounds interesting. So I immediately DM'd Ivan. I was like, listen, dude, like, let's do the same thing. Because he was starting this whole, like, mentorship program with people that wanted to get into esports. And then, so me and Ivan were talking. He was like, dude, you should honestly just get with Mason, kind of just push things together. Which I didn't want to do at the time because he had people in his org that were under the original org that I first joined before Fluid. But we hashed that all out, and then me and Mason kind of just sat down one night with a bunch of other people and came up with Fluid Gaming. Fluid Gaming came up because I wanted something that was easy, clean, not your typical esports logo character type theme. So Fluid was it. It's a word that it's very versatile, and we have a character now, but it is what it is. It's pretty cool. But we also just use Fluid still. But so we were in this mentorship thing with Carnage for a while, and then Carnage kind of slowly grinded things to a halt because esports it went crazy, right? It was just in a bad environment. Tournaments were not profitable for organizations, for this tier organizations to send people to. It just wasn't profitable. As a business thing, it didn't make sense. And I think a lot of kids, especially the Call of Duty scene, don't understand that. Because the amount of DMs I get for, hey, send me to a LAN, we have an awesome team, blah, 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 blah. And I'm like, well, okay, it's going to cost X amount. You guys don't win. What is that going to do for me? Anyways, so Carnage kind of halted, and I was like, dude, I don't think I'm ready. I got a lot of traction, and I said, I don't think I'm done yet. So I kept just kind of going with Fluid, and just had Ivan in my pocket. So the start of Fluid was really just 7 different Call of Duty teams. I was like, okay, we're Call of Duty org. I have a passion for Call of Duty. I'm going to get a team in every league that I can, market the brand, and just kind of watch people, picked up certain people, built teams out of them. And we made it to playoffs in every league we were in, and we won a couple of them. And then we kind of just let things go, settled it down as our name was growing. It was really cool to see you would join these online tournament things on streaming on Twitch, and people were like Fluid this, Fluid that, whatever. So it was cool to see all that. So our name was getting out there, and that was the whole point. Kind of narrowed it down to one team, won a bunch of tournaments with them. One of them has actually competed first year this year in Challengers because he was old enough and made it to finals or whatever they call it, Noah. So shout out to Noah for that. But and then the real ones were there. They joined Zelos, egoed Fluid, but that's okay.
I would like. Can we talk? Take a second right now to figure this out.
I've
never been told why we got egoed, but
I got egoed.
I say we figure it out on this podcast right now.
How did I?
Time to let it all out. Let's figure it out. How did I ego Fluid?
My DM was left on red.
I need receipts here, Johnny.
Hey man, go through your DMs. You should have them.
I got nothing from Fluid.
Yeah,
I think. See, what I think it was, because Zealous, or Zelos, however you want to call it, they knew at the time when COVID started, and in the States, a lot of orgs were just, falling off. They weren't, everyone was going back to work. All these people that started an org, they're like, oh, I can't do this anymore, so I'm just going to call it quits. Jeff had a very successful mortgage company that he was busy with, couldn't commit to an org anymore, and he called it down. That was also one of the reasons why Real Ones and myself just went to go find somewhere else, because Zealous wasn't going to be a thing anymore. And I'm pretty sure, Johnny, Jeff said that he had a place for us to go, but I had already talked to Ivan. So I said, never mind. I got egoed
still. Either way it was.
No. I don't think he ever mentioned an org. He just said, I have a couple in mind for us, because he was going to try and help us go somewhere. Because I know he sent a lot of his people. I think some went to Fluid, but he never said a name.
If I could search...
Because some went to Carnage, and some went to Fluid.
If I could search in Twitter chats, I'd be able to find it, because we're still all in the group chat. We call it the org behind the scenes. It's an inside joke. But... and we're all in there, so I'm pretty sure we talked about it in there, because I probably said something to Ivan. I was like, dude, I wanted these guys, blah, 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 blah. But,
damn, I was worth something back then.
Yeah, man.
When you guys are talking about, I signed with this, I signed with them, we wanted to get this guy, we wanted to get that guy. From someone from the outside, does that involve an actual contract with the signature and everything like that, or is it just pretty much word of mouth and an agreement?
You want to take this one down? You want me to go?
It doesn't matter. So, I mean, if you want to expand, most of it's word of mouth and agreement. Most of the people that say I'm signing with somebody, especially with a lot of orgs that sign teams, their contracts aren't legally binding. The org doesn't have an LLC or anything like that. So you can write your own contract, but if it doesn't have a binding behind it, then it doesn't mean anything. But that's pretty much just a gentleman's agreement.
Does that ever, I can imagine it might cause issues sometimes, but does it come up a lot where people are like, well, screw you guys, I'm going here?
So, I'm newer to Fluid. I've only been here for, what would you say, Johnny? Just under a year?
Probably, yeah.
Yeah. So when I joined a couple months after, Johnny obviously gave me more responsibility, and Johnny trusts me more. Oh, I just threw my neck out. Anyways. And we decided what we wanted to do with Fluid, and we decided that we needed to go in the route of the content. Video games were dying, competitive scene was dying. Let's just focus on one thing. We're doing too much. We threw a whole recruitment challenge and everything, and that gave us the opportunity to put together a paid content team. So with that, there's payment involved, there's money involved. Those group of individuals, it's 5, hopefully, maybe it'll grow to 6 creators. We have them on a a contract, I guess you could say, just because we feel like there should be some type of backing to it when there's money. Just between two people. We tried. So we have the content team, and then we have the Fluid reps that we would call them. They're still content creators within the org, just to differentiate the two groups of people in Fluid. We just didn't want to give them both that content creator under Fluid Gaming name. So we have the content team, and then we have the Fluid reps. I thought it was a good idea to keep people accountable, because when you're working with these smaller orgs, people get all excited like it's freaking Christmas the first day they sign with an org, because they think it's the best thing in their life. And then 3 weeks later, and I know this from experience because this is how I was with Carnage. That's what I brought up. I regret doing this. First couple weeks, I was super excited, super involved. 3 weeks goes by. Okay, I'm just going to do my thing now. I'm not going to be as interactive. I'm not going to network. I'm not going to keep growing. I'm just going to keep playing my video game, and that's what I'm going to do. So me being a hard ass as the type of guy that I am nowadays, I felt it was only fair if we had some type of just, not necessarily a contract, but an agreement with these Fluid reps that, there's certain requirements that you need to uphold if you want to represent this brand, because we don't want to be bringing in these creators, these individuals that are just going to have these butterflies for the first 3 weeks and then just sit AFK in our group chats and our Discord, just wasting space, us wasting our time trying to help them when they're not wanting to actually get help. That backfired really quick. I was getting hate, and they're like, I don't want to sign nothing. I don't want to have any type of agreement if I'm not blah, blah, blah. Anyways, so yeah, I mean, sometimes it works, contracts, and sometimes it doesn't.
I was just going to say, what kind of standards or agreements do you put in place for someone who's like on that like different tier to your assigned creators? I would assume that it should bring about some sort of like a harmonious process out of it all, but like you were just saying, it might actually turn out to be the opposite.
I mean, it's pretty chill. We had more when we had this pictured idea. I had more expectations of what a Fluid rep should be doing. After getting it passed by Jonny, and then we had JP, and we had Shawnee, and we had Amy. We have all these different staff members part of Fluid. Unfortunately, not everybody can be here, but there's a lot more than just Jonny and I. Even goes down to our creators themselves. They're a huge part of everything that Fluid does, if not everything. But it felt like, we can only do so much for them. We can't expect them to do the flip hell and heaven back and forth for us. So it's very simple, Obviously we started with just that mentality that they want to do better. If we have those type of people in the org, then we know we have the right people that we want to work with. So consistency is the biggest thing. And I know it doesn't seem like it's an actual task that somebody can do, but it is a personality trait. It is a requirement that we look for. And people might be like, well, how can you look for that? Well, when you inquire about joining Fluid, we can go on your Twitter. You have a track record. How often do you tweet? How often are you interacting with people on Twitter? How often are you active on your other socials? How often are you posting? Do you have a YouTube? Do you have a TikTok? Do you have an Instagram short? YouTube shorts? Like, what are you doing other than just sending me a DM and saying that, yeah, I'm consistent? Where are your receipts? So, I mean, that's a big one, is consistency and wanting to do better, wanting to have an end goal. We have tried, having minimum requirements, like you must post a certain amount of shorts a week, try and post a full long-term video a month.
I think a lot of that too, like the requirement, the minimum requirements all came up from like Fluid's all about helping people that want to make it in gaming and be a streamer to build those steps up. Like, you started here, now we got to get you here, and we're here to guide you and help you direct that path along the way. So for me, it's all about building a community on communities, right? So like, it's not Fluid in the middle and we're building outwards this way. It's all these people and Fluid's going in all of them. And that's kind of how all the communities will branch together. There's been ups and downs with it, but I think ultimately the goal of Fluid is just to support those people that want to strive and have a passion for gaming. And I would say probably 96.5% of people don't understand that it's more than just playing video games. And the work that goes in behind building your brand, running a podcast, editing your videos, posting on socials, uploading shorts. Like, it's all a challenge. So we kind of break it all down for everybody, and we're like, okay, you want to focus on Twitter? Let's focus on your Twitter first. Okay, this is the steps on how you grow. This is that. And we kind of give them some resources to do that. Once they feel like they have momentum, then we can add in, okay, let's start doing YouTube shorts. Let's start adding that into your daily routine, or however you want to break it down into their own routine. And then you build on top of that instead of, okay, I'm sitting here, I got to post on Twitter, I got to post on YouTube, I got to make a video for long form content, I got to post on TikTok, I got to post on Instagram. Like,
Could be overwhelming.
It gets overwhelming,
Yeah.
exactly, really quick. So if you break it down and you kind of build it in building blocks, we're just a big support system for that. So we thought at the end of the day, the minimum stuff really was just normal things that you would be doing anyways. So
Absolutely. In preparation for this podcast, I actually tried reaching out to a few orgs. Nothing crazy, just like, how sometimes they'll put out a tweet, let us know who you are, we'll have a look at you, blah, blah, blah. And I just wanted to see what the process was about getting in contact with people in that space. Unfortunately, not much success. But what would you suggest people do to either put themselves in the best possible light, or how to present themselves and get in contact with someone who in the interest of joining?
I'm laughing because Shof just preaches this all the time. So I'm going to let him take this question for sure.
Basically, rule number one, don't give Chof the DMs, because things never go well. I was given, it took me forever. Johnny was supposed to give me the Twitter for like a month and a half. Never did. He's finally he said, screw it. Here's the Twitter. First day, I'm just cleaning up the DMs. Like, enough of this.
I was bad at
enough
keeping
of
them.
this. Yeah, enough of this. You, like, there isn't a hi, there isn't a how are you, there isn't not a single piece of like personalism in these messages and the DMs. It was just like Johnny said earlier in today's podcast, we're a team of 4. I'm really good at Call of Duty. There's a LAN coming up in Georgia. It's this amount of price. We need someone to sponsor us. We need uniforms. Blah, 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 blah. And yeah, I sent out DMs and Johnny saw them, and I was very nice about it. I was professional, and Johnny's like, all right, no more DMs for Chof. So don't join an org that Chof has access to the DMs of. There's step number 1.
No, I mean, he's got a clear point. Like, you can't just, if you're approaching someone, introduce who you are, where you come from, and if you're bringing a team into the conversation, send that team resume. You don't apply for a job like, hello, I want this job. You fill out a sheet, right, of information. You fill out, maybe sometimes you do a questionnaire, and then you attach your cover letter or resume to it. It's the same thing.
Yeah. It just all depends on, honestly, how professional you look. Like, treat it as an IRL. If you send a business, if you're looking for a job, you send a business a very unprofessional, unorganized, and sloppy resume. Are you going to get a call for a job interview? Probably not. Are you going to get a message saying we're not interested? Probably not. They're probably just going to leave you alone. They're not going to say anything. So professionalism is probably the biggest thing. And that doesn't mean that you weren't doing that when reaching out to the orgs. Like, for example, I reach out to bigger name creators all the time. I've reached out to other creators. Sometimes they hit, sometimes they don't. And, it also depends on how many followers they have, because the more the followers, more likely they're having hundreds and thousands of DMs come through. Are they going to see yours?
Yeah.
Probably not for a while.
The biggest thing is for people that have like a massive following, is to regularly comment and interact with their socials and their videos and their tweets, and then start building that up, and then send them a DM. So that shows them that, hey, you've been here a while, you've been following me, I'm going to give you some time of day, say hello or whatever, quick 5 minutes, whatever. Shooting messages, probably I mean, I don't know. It depends what kind of orgs you're messaging, right? So it's just like hit or miss, really. I mean, it's the same thing for anybody else. Just depends on how dedicated that org is for their DMs and people and things like that. But yeah.
Exactly. Yeah, I mean, and then Twitter DMs also have the filter where sometimes profiles have it set up if you're not following each other, your DMs go into like their hidden box or whatever. I don't even check my hiddens, and sometimes I'll go in every now and then. I have like 6, and it's like, oh, like, sorry, pal, I didn't know. I'm not popular on Twitter by any means. I'm under 1,000 followers, and I still have people sitting in my hidden. Like,
Yeah.
I don't know why, but that's just Twitter.
Generally, my hidden are the graphic designers, the graphic artists. They all just want to make emotes and just spam their things.
Oh yeah, never tweet about graphics.
Never tweet about it, but you get flooded with those things.
Oh yeah, you do.
Yeah, you do. You do.
So I was going to
But I
ask
mean-
as well, though, because I've had a lot of experience now the last few months of trying to get the podcast going and reaching out to people and trying to communicate. I feel like, and it's just my personal opinion and my experience, that there is a bit of a difference the older people are and how they present themselves and communicate. Slightly older people, like myself, I'm in my 30s, try and be a bit more like you said, a bit more professional rather just sliding like, yo, what's up kind of thing. But sometimes maybe with the younger people, it can feel like if you don't present yourself in a bit more casual manner, like they don't hear your message. Do you find that sort of a similar sort of experience for you guys?
I'm going to say, yeah, it's hit or miss. I think it depends on, like, I'm going to give an example for a content creator or a Twitch streamer, and the community that they build and the type of person that they are. Like, I watch all kinds of different creators just because I'm trying to learn all different aspects of content creation. Why this person is doing it this way versus this person doing it that way. And you learn about a lot of different stuff and how they do their things. And for example, I'm not going to name names or anything, but there's some streamers that will have 5,000 people watching them. They're on a sub train. You know, someone's first time subbing to the channel or someone's 100th time subbing to the channel. And, you know, most streamers 9 times out of 10 will say, oh, thank you for the 1 month, blah, 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 or thank you for the 3 month. There's some streamers that don't even say that stuff. You know, they got a sub, oh, thank you. So I think it also depends on the type of community that you go to. If you're with a streamer, yes, they might be famous, or I guess you could say famous, but there's lots of pro Warzone streamers in the scene right now that have made it very public. If they didn't have to stream when they played these tournaments, they wouldn't be streaming. They may have 3,000 people live right now watching them, but they could care less about their stream. They don't want to be here. They're just doing it because they have to. So it depends on the community. Like if you're reaching out to someone more, you know, to themselves and more personable, or not personal, but just more, you know, tight on who they talk to and how they approach things, it's more unlikely that you're going to build that connection with them because they're not really looking to build connections like that. Whereas someone like, I don't know if you know Repulse, he's a very popular one. He will reply to 90% of the people that comment on his stuff, 90% of the DMs. That man is always on his phone. He's always building bridges with his community. He has one of the best communities in the Warzone scene. There's a reason why he's higher than Swag. He's higher than, he's like one of the top Warzone streamers, and he doesn't even play Warzone anymore. He's just there because of the community and the personality that he has. And that's building connections and making people feel like they're there for the right reasons.
Yeah, no. And dude, so like that brings up another point is because I watch Joe all the time, right? And these big streamers, dude, their chat is moving so fast, and still like Joe shouts out everybody that subs. He has conversations. He'll like pick up conversations while he's playing Warzone somehow, and still interact with people that are watching him. And I think that's a talent to do. Like that's a talent you either have or you don't. I don't think it's something you kind of create. And maybe you can create it a little bit, but a lot of people are like into the game and then they check their chat or something like that. Like it's a talent to do that, especially when your chat's just flowing. So
I can't imagine having thousands of active chatters in a chat and trying to read it because, yeah, like you said, it can just fly, especially if you're trying to play at the same time. It is definitely a skill to be able to like multitask and not only just...
Well, they have the slow mode now.
Yeah,
so
yeah, that helps
that
too.
helps.
But it's not even just being able to look over at a different monitor for a second just to look, but you actually reading it and taking in information, next level difficult, I feel like.
100%. I agree. It's a talent. Yep. And like you go to like, so I like Tim the Tatman too, like another big streamer where his chat is like probably a million miles an hour. He doesn't interact really too much for anybody, but he's a good entertainer, and he posts that he's a personal person and interacts with the community through his other socials. And so I think it's just different avenues that you take. He still shouts out people on his stream and things, but yeah.
I think you just got to find the right community. And then those are the people that you can start to network with. Like, get into Tim the Tatman's Discord server, because you know those are going to be similar, like-minded people like you, because you both are watching Tim the Tatman for the same reasons. That's where you start building your network. That's like the biggest thing that we have told some people is just find your alike communities and start there. And then those communities will grow and grow and grow, and you'll find different avenues.
But kind of like fluid, yep.
Yeah, find the people that you want to grow with and that you're comfortable with, because everyone's vibes bang off of each other. And if you're not with the right people, then you're not doing the right thing.
Yeah,
so
absolutely. And that's something I noticed pretty quickly when it came to, I felt like I was late to the Twitch scene and streamers and getting to know, like I said, the CDL and all that kind of thing. I kind of realized pretty quickly that I did enjoy the fact that I could type in the chat and have not only people in the chat reply back and say hello, but also the streamer. So all those ones that you mentioned, like you type a message and then like half a second later it's gone off the screen. I kind of started the Nick Mercs, the swag, all that kind of thing. I felt like I was lost in there. I didn't feel like I could find that connection. But then there's some people there who don't care for the chat as well, and they just want to watch just the personality or just the gameplay. So it's really cool how you can, there's a whole mix of different ways you can go about it and find where you belong, kind of thing.
100%. I think what Shof said really goes with like any craft, podcasting, gaming, whatever, starting an org. You find that similarity in like certain other podcasts or certain orgs that you like, and you kind of follow their footprint and see what they're doing and how they're doing it, and you kind of replicate that. Because it's not about reinventing the wheel. The road's already paved. You just got to follow, like he said, the people that are like-minded and have a similar community.
Yeah. My favorite people to watch right now are the smaller streamers. Like, they have the most passion. They also want to grow their brand, and they're interactive, and their chat is super fresh. They're super energetic. Like, we have, I'm going to gaslight our own Fluid Gaming, but we have one streamer, Miss Hobo Slayer. I can go into her chat, and they all remember you from, you could have been in their chat 3 weeks ago. And you'll pop in, they'll know you right away. They'll know you by your name. They'll remember everything that you talked about. And that's what I like about smaller communities, because everyone knows everybody.
It's when we were doing our interviews for the Fluid Recruitment Challenge, we were interviewing one guy. He was on our content team. His name's Trip. And he did his interview live, but he put it on mute. And so I pulled his stream up because we were all just BSing before he muted. And I left his stream up while we were asking him questions and things. And his chat was like doing like one of those old Chinese movies where they were just lip reading and then typing what we thought we were saying.
Yeah.
So it was super awesome, hilarious, great video. And he went on after we were done with the interview, he had got a hype train and like got 55 subs or something crazy that night.
Oh, that's cool.
He's in the hundreds.
It might have been, yeah. So his stream was like huge, but yeah, that's a type of community like you should focus on. I think if you focus more on the positives and like your day-to-day negatives, oh, I gotta do another video again, or I don't feel like it, like there's always that way to like reroute, and I think people just get overwhelmed and kind of outworked.
How do you go from starting an org, and obviously you guys both had experience in like coming up with smaller organizations or like a different way that people would do things, Did you always have this one sort of, I would rather do it this way in your mind, or have you learned and taken things from your previous experiences and brought them into Fluid?
So for me personally, when I first started Fluid with the whole 7 things, I was like, all right, I got to figure out a way to do this. So I read the Optic Gaming book, and it just tells you about the whole come up of Optic Gaming, blah, blah, blah. And I feel the exact same way that Hex does when he's asked, would you ever do it again? Absolutely not. It is probably one of the hardest things I've ever done to even come to this point. And yet I would still say we're something, but we're nothing. Like, if you would ask the daily person on the street, no one, 0.0001% would know who Fluid Gaming is, which is fine. But it's been so much work, and you have to adapt to different trends and different changes in the scene. And the gaming industry is so young that I think right now it's regressing a lot. But it's wild. I mean, it's just a lot of work. But yeah, I forgot what your original question was.
It was more like the way of running your org. Have you taken things? Yeah.
Yeah, so I read the book. That gave me a lot of good ideas and insight onto like the consistency, the dedication it takes, instead of like relying on motivation, because motivation disappears. And then like other orgs I followed growing up, like my favorite org, NRG, I bring it up in probably every meeting that we have. Everybody in Fluid gives me for it, but I like what they do. I like what their brand stands for. It's simple, it's clean. They produce content. They have esports teams, but they produce content with their esports teams that are like funny or different style takes on the games that they play. So I like what they stand for. I like what they do. They're not always trying to be, oh, NRG. Like, they're just NRG and they're there. And I think they have a very solid foundation. Probably helps that they have Shaq backing them. But yeah, I mean, it's just a solid brand, a solid foundation. I like the people. I like the organization. So it's an org that I follow closely to kind of replicate and bring it to Fluid in my own thoughts of how I want Fluid to be.
What about you, Choff? Have you found you've taken your experiences in other places and brought them into Fluid, or it's reinforced what not to do kind of thing?
No, 100% from other experiences. And I think the timing of how everything worked out was just perfect. So IRL, my parents own a very successful local hockey club. And this hockey club previous years has been known to be a very successful, very reputable brand of doing very well within the season. And the head coach of the team, unreal guy. You know, he's into all the motivational speakers. You know, he really understands what it takes to win and how to get there and how important a team is. And that, you know, as stupid as it sounds, but there is no I in team. So with this content team, we really pushed and remind them that you're not alone. And if you're getting behind, or if you're stuck on something, you've got 4 or 5 other people to bounce ideas off of in this little group.
Yep.
You have a Twitter group chat, you have a Discord group chat, we have voice calls available, texting available. Like, everything is available for you to work with and collaborate with other creators when you're starting to feel down or when you need a little bit more help. And my biggest thing was just to run it like a regular sports team. You come in, you do your job, you go home, you relax, wake up the next day, go to work, do your job, relax. Yeah, do your job. One of the Johnny's favorite ones. As long as you're doing your job, everyone's doing their job. You know, you minimize the mistakes and you're going to be successful at the end of the day. So that was the big one. And then another big one that our coach, I mean, I got this from him. I don't know if I told Johnny I got this from him, but this is where I got it from, is have the mentality that every single day you're going to get 1% better. It's not a big percent, but 1% in a day is pretty possible, whether you look at it as, I'm going to learn how to make a transition in my YouTube videos. I'm gonna, work on my aim today in a Call of Duty game, or I'm gonna work on my abilities in a Valorant game, something like that. Anything where it could be, something so fractional, but over the course of 365 days, you got 365% better. And you can look at how you want to margin that, obviously, but proportion-wise, 365%, no matter how you look at it, that's a significant difference from when you started. And you can apply that to content, you can apply that to school, you can apply that to work, your relationship, however you want to apply it. We just took that from our team and how we ran things, which we had a very successful year, one of the most successful in franchise histories, actually, which timed, again, like I said, timed perfectly, because we just started, as the season started, this fluid thing and this content team thing, and I can kind of bounce the vibes and the mentality and the planning that we had with the hockey team with this content team, and just keep pushing, and that's what we've been doing. You're gonna have ups, you're gonna have downs, but in the end, it doesn't matter. As long as, like Johnny said, you do your job, at the end of the day, you minimize your mistakes, you're gonna be successful. So
yeah, no, I definitely agree with that whole sports mentality. And I think people don't understand that. I think people are like, oh, it's an org. The org's here to support me. The org's here to support them. But I feel like, especially in Fluid, I feel like a lot of people, until recently, didn't realize, hey, okay, we're all one group. We're all here to support each other. We're all here for the same goals. So I definitely like the aspect of the sports mentality that Shof has kind of brought into the org, with like leading the team that way. I think it's super important, because just because you're not running sprints down the field or whatever, it's still kind of the same way. I mean, you're just sprinting, and your mind is sprinting, I'll tell you that much. And it's good to know that you have a team behind you, or with you, I should say. Yeah, and I think along that line, it's important to make sure that the people connect and mesh well with each other.
Yep.
Right? You can't just have... And that's like one of my favorite, since we're on the sports topic, my favorite thing is Nick Saban, the Alabama football coach. He's won like nine championships, NCAA football championships. His whole thing is, okay, his job at spring practice is to get the right people on the bus and the wrong people off the bus. He says, high achievers don't like mediocre people, and mediocre people don't like high achievers. And then he goes down in the conversation. It's my pinned tweet in my profile if you want to listen to it. He goes down in the conversation and says, one day you're going to be in an organization where they're going to make the choice. Do you want to either be on the bus or you want to be off the bus? So it's like, you have to get that mentality. And I think we did a fairly good job at picking a content team that can work well together, strive together, work out their differences. But if we had someone in there that just was like shelled everything up, didn't speak their mind, then it wouldn't work. So it's yeah.
And it's the same thing coming back to a team. Like, the level that we're at, we can trade players, we can cut players, you can drop players, you can sign players, blah, blah, blah. So if we don't have, the right mesh, the right group, and things aren't vibing well, I mean, maybe we made the wrong decision. It's time to change something new. We haven't got to that point yet. I think we put the right team together. We are more than fortunate enough, and again, it comes back to, we think that Fluid is a very good community and everyone's there to help each other. Like, she has no reason at all to do this, but again, we come back to Miss Hobo Slayer, Twitch partner, Discord partner, YouTube partner. What else?
Something else.
I don't know. Some other things. She's got her life, she's got her business, she's got her brand. But is she going to stay up an extra 2 hours after stream or after a meeting and sit down with you and help plan what you could be doing better? 100%.
And it's wild that she's even here. How we connected was through a person that I started gaming with at the beginning of my whole, before Fluid Gaming. I needed help putting Discord together. This person hooked me up with her. She helped me put Fluid's Discord together, et cetera, and the rest has been history. Like, I think it means a lot that she's still here.
When everyone is on the same page, nothing can go wrong.
I like how it's sort of like from the outside looking into orgs and stuff, I can understand how some people would think if I sign with an org, they're going to support me, they're going to pay me, they're going to give me all these opportunities, and me making the best possible content is enough for them. But I like how you guys are talking about how it's a bit more reciprocal than that. Like working as a team, I think one of the lessons I grew up with from my dad and coaching and sports and everything was that you don't have to be best friends with everyone you're on a team with, but you have to know how to work as a team. So you can really dislike someone, but you need to know how to work together. Otherwise, the team's not going to do anything. You guys aren't going to play well.
Exactly.
So I like how you guys are talking about that. I like that a lot.
There's been so many people that are like, oh, I'm going to join Fluid and, my numbers, I'm going to join an org. Just in general, their mentalities, I'm going to join an org and my stream's going to blow up, blah, 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 blah. And they get in and they see, oh, I'm not getting the numbers that I thought I was going to get. Well, yeah, because I'm not, you still have to put in the work. Nothing's going to change. So, yeah, and then some people disagree with the requirements that we have for our contract, which is fine. I mean, we could talk it out, work it out. It's the same thing. It's not that we don't have a one-way street. It's not what we say goes. We work out for the individual. But all our requirements are stuff. Yeah, all our requirements are stuff that you're going to do anyways. You're going to stream. You're going to create content. You're going to post shorts. You're going to interact on your socials, things like that. So,
you're going to do if you want to become successful.
Hopefully, they're going to be doing that.
Exactly. For example, we have someone right now on the content team, Reaps, who started from the bottom, and he did the minimum requirements that people think is the end of the world and it's going to kill them. The minimum requirements. He then took that and took it to the next level. He then tried out for the crewman challenge, made the content team, and now he's got YouTube videos in the thousands. He's got shorts that are averaging, multi-thousand numbers, and his Twitch viewers are going up. And it's all because, we're crazy. These stupid minimum requirements aren't going to do anything for me. You guys are rude. You guys are, sorry for my language, I don't need to do this, blah, blah, blah. And we're like, well, here's an example of Reaps who, again, started from the bottom like everybody else and is now working towards what he wants to do. Is he there yet? No. But does he have the opportunity? Yes, because he's giving himself that opportunity. He's putting in the work. He's another one on the content team. He may not be at the top of, the top creators in the team, but is he going to bust his ass if just as hard, if not harder, to be like them? 100%. Whenever we need a video, someone to fill in a video, Reaps is first one to put his hand up. We need somebody to help out with this. Reaps is right there putting his hand up.
Yep. He's really been a one that's he started at the very beginning streaming one viewer, got down about it, stopped. I forgot who he knew in the org, but someone recommended him. I talked to him and I was like, dude, your personality is awesome. Let's do this. I think you can benefit from being with us and we can guide you, blah, blah, blah. And I would say in the last 6 months, he's kind of actually, since he signed the contract, he's kind of taken everything to heart and started really being consistent and disciplined in his craft. So you can see the growth. You can look at his numbers and see the growth. Does he have 75 people in his stream? No, but it's growing, right? So it's
he's putting the steps in place. He's really taking it on board and he's putting everything in place. Yeah.
Yep.
Would you say for you guys are more worried about the administrative side of things, like admin work, or do you work hands-on with the creators yourselves?
We do both.
You do both.
We attempt to.
Yeah.
I mean, sometimes it works.
Yeah, sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. Sometimes we fumble, but me and Shove pick each other back up and keep on rolling. And like he was mentioning earlier, we have Shawnee, we have JP, we have Amy. So we all do a little bit of everything to take some stuff off each other's plates. And it's worked out really, really well so far. Super happy to have the people I have because when you're starting an amateur org, everybody thinks they want to get paid. And I'm like, okay, how do you want to get paid when I'm not even making money? Or, I'll be the last one to make money in Fluid when we get to that point. So we finally have a paid content team. Yeah, it's 5 people, but it's 5 awesome people. But yeah, I mean, it's the steps in the right direction. You're not gonna become the next big name overnight. It definitely takes some time.
I like how you just mentioned that you guys pick yourselves up, at meaning that like you do still make mistakes, but you still learn from them, and it doesn't stop you from evolving and getting better.
Oh yeah, and then like on your sheet, I saw one of the things like the challenges of org building or something like that, or would you do this again? I mean, dude, there's times where I'm like DMing the show, if I'm like, dude, I don't know if I can keep doing this. Like
every 3 months,
the roller coaster ride of all this stuff is just. It's mentally taxing. It really is. And I don't think people understand that. And it's so much work, because if you're not doing what you're preaching, then how do you get the people to buy into what you're doing and do what you're saying to do? And we make a good team, and we've started doing it. So
I was going to say the most impressive thing, and I don't think anyone really talks about it too much, is that this is not like your main job. This is literally something that you're doing away from what you do for a living. So
yeah,
you're putting all this effort into something that, you can't live off right now. So it really takes a lot of passion, dedication, and belief to actually get yourself keep going to this thing and putting everything into it.
Yeah, 100%.
And I think it all comes down to just, again, I think everything has to be, when you want something to be successful, it has to be professional. You have, even though we are, and I'm going to say this, be clear, we are nowhere near a professional company. We're not an Apple. We're not a Tesla. But do you think companies like Tesla or Apple decide what they want to do yesterday? Or are they months? Are they years? They're way backtracked with a plan. And obviously we do it on a much smaller scale, but I think the biggest thing with this kind of stuff is to have a plan. And our content team, when did we start that? We started, I think,
February.
In November though, is when we planned the recruitment challenge. Yeah. And we didn't start our content team until February. So we had, I don't know my math there, 3 or 4 months of just planning. That's using your time to pre-script the messages that's going to go out each phase, pre-setting up the Google Drives, pre-setting up like everything.
And we had to do it over the course of 3 months, because we were like, oh, we got 2.5 weeks of holidays, people are going to be coming back, stuff like that. So like the planning to go on behind that, to keep making it relevant on the Twitter feed and things like that on YouTube, was pretty challenging, but we got through it, and I think overall we executed pretty well from the plan we had written.
Do you guys have a plan for the next, XYZ months, years? Do you plan ahead? How far?
I think we do. Right now we're planning, I'd say 3 months ahead. Johnny and I, because we've talked about this off podcast, but Johnny can speak for himself, but Johnny's been away on holidays and vacation and moving and
work
everything.
Trips, yeah.
Work.
So yeah, like I just took a new job at the end of April, so I moved to Omaha from Dallas. Then I had 4 days in Omaha. My stuff wasn't delivered yet. My stuff got delivered on the 9th. I left the 10th, went to a wedding in Virginia, then flew to New York for 2.5 weeks for work, then coming back here, and it's like I have all this work. I'm transitioning a team that's not coming from New York to Omaha, and it's like, but we're all here. Fluid's still up and running. We're still posting. We're doing all that, and that's what makes the staff so freaking cool.
So to answer your question, how far in advance are we planning our future? Not very right now, because Johnny's been away, and Johnny is the guy that I need approval from to confirm everything, because some of my ideas can be a little crazy. So I would say we're probably about, 3 months planned out right now. So not long term, it's short term, but Johnny and I are always talking. The day he flew in, I think that night I said, or maybe it was the night before. It was like a Discord call. I was like, in my head, I'm like, I don't care if you've been on the plane all day. We haven't talked in 3 months. It's time to chit chat, pal. I need graphics, Johnny. I've been waiting too long.
Can you share any of those crazy ideas?
I mean, I let go of the crazy ones. But right now, like I mentioned earlier, so we have the content team, then we have the Fluid reps. In my opinion, I think we've been wasting a lot of potential of what can help grow Fluid, what can help the Fluid reps, with using them and showcasing their talent. At the end of the day, they're still content creators. They still have a community, and our community still supports them. So why not use them more often? Why not showcase them more often? So we're going to do some Fluid rep spotlights. We are going to go again to the more professional things. It's as simple as when we make birthday posts for our creators. You know, I'm not very good with tech stuff. And like I said, Johnny's been away. So I've just been using the stupid Canva app with artwork and whatever. So it looks sloppy. It doesn't look good. So we're going to, treat our people. We're going to get them better graphics for that kind of stuff. Yeah, it was just, anyways, showcasing our community better. Oh, community events. We started one. We didn't advertise it right. That was on us. It was our fault. So moving forward, now we know we're going to be doing a lot more community events. They're going to be featured in YouTube videos. So whether you're a Fluid member or not, you have the opportunity to be in a YouTube video. Get more people involved, get them more interactive with the Fluid brand and the community.
Exactly.
So just stuff like that.
We really want to get our creators communities involved in Fluid and kind of start bringing them into our events, into our videos, and kind of doing it that way, and kind of creating a story or a series that people can follow and track on YouTube. So we have a lot of exciting ideas about what we're going to do with our YouTube videos and the why Fluid gaming question. I brought that up, I don't know, a month or so ago, and I was like, all right, guys, we're 2 months into content creation as a team. So I want you guys to start thinking about why Fluid gaming. Why are we going to the Fluid YouTube page to watch content? So we've been kind of narrowing down that as a org. So yeah, it's hard to believe that it's been 4 months already.
It's crazy.
It doesn't seem like anything too crazy or out there or, pie in the sky. It seems like just very good. You're cleaning up things. You're really trying to put your house in order and trying to level up a little bit at a time, which seems like the most responsible thing to be doing, just little things at a time.
No, we cut some of the crazy stuff off. Because when Johnny said, Chof, I want you to do more stuff for Fluid. And I was straight up with him. I said, Johnny, our issue in Fluid is we're trying to do too much. We have this on the go and it's half-assed. You have this on the go, it's half-assed. You have this on the go, it's half-assed. When everything is being half-assed, nothing's getting done to its full potential. So it's hard for that thing to be successful. So crazy ideas we don't have time for because, they're just going to be distraction from the priorities that we want to do right now. Crazy idea was we thought we'd be doing a content house by now. Ooh. Just for a fun getaway.
Yeah.
I mean, nothing crazy, not long term. Let's just book an Airbnb for a week, bring your PCs, bring your monitors. Let's go make a week of content. Let's just go crazy. You stay up all day, you get a couple hours of sleep, do it all day again the next day. And there's 50 videos you can do in a week. And it's all more fun content. It's IRL. You can do some gaming, but more interesting stuff that you don't see from this type of orgs, the smaller orgs. So it's a crazy idea, but who wants to do that?
Still in the works.
Still, it could be in the works. Is it a priority though?
It's still there. Yeah, it should be a priority. Yeah. This team should be, but yeah, 100%.
Yeah. It's not the wildest idea. That does sound like a really interesting and good idea, but I can imagine when you're really invested in something, it's hard to put all the ideas aside sometimes and focus on one because you kind of just want to do everything. And
our brains are always twirling. We're always writing notes down. And yeah, I'm actually surprised that we made it for 4 months with everybody we picked up. The way the gaming and everything is, most people are like, oh, screw this, and then they leave, and then you have to start from scratch. But so far, it's been good. It's been really good. We've been able to work out our differences, talk as a team, and things like that, which is always good. Because I'm never the guy that's like my way's the highway. It's always a conversation. So
I noticed that you guys aren't just like you guys both came from basically Call of Duty when you started competing and stuff, but you're not just a Call of Duty org. I've noticed some Minecraft, some other games on there, and you're sort of like evolving. Does the changing games come into like any friction? Like when a game starts to go downhill, kind of like Call of Duty, to be honest. But do the creators, are they fluid in what they do, or do they
see?
Yeah, see, it's see,
you
can use the word.
Exactly.
Yeah. No, I mean, I think everybody's in a little bit of everything. For example, who do we have? Miss Hobo Slayer is just a variety streamer in general, so it doesn't matter the game out. She's going to play everything. Trep is a very big Call of Duty guy. He's been a watch party host for quite some time now, for the past couple of majors. And yet he still dips into Hogwarts, New World, Minecraft.
He's a ghost hunter expert.
Yeah, Phasmophobia. Plug, we just released a new YouTube video, Phasmophobia. And then, you have people like Roman, who, again, big Warzone guy, now is doing Valorant full-time. I think a lot of people lately have switched over to Valorant, a lot of the FPS players, just because it's like the new wave right now or whatever. I don't know. I'll never touch it. We're flexible, and I'm not giving him credit yet because it's not been confirmed, but Brandon had a good point. We were talking with Brandon. Hello, Brandon.
Hello, Brandon.
You back there behind the computer screen right now. He kind of mentioned it when Johnny and I were talking about it, our why and, what it could be, blah, blah, blah. And, just our biggest why is working with the community, helping our communities grow, building bridges between communities. And that's kind of what we're doing here, whether it's a community game with Minecraft, we did that 2 weeks ago, a week ago. We had a Minecraft event. I think Brandon was right. We have something here with our community that we just haven't reached its full potential yet. And it's something that we really need to look into because we have an amazing community. People support us, even though it's such a small scale. The people that do support us are 100% committed on Fluid. They know that, we know that. So it doesn't matter the game. Somebody's going to be on something. We have a Discord here. There's all kinds of different games. You could have 12 people in the Discord. There's probably 3 different games going on, 4 different games going on. But yeah, it's all fun.
Be careful with the Brandon gas. We don't want to give him too much of a big head. But it does seem like...
I gas Brandon as much as possible.
Nah, not too much. It does seem from my point of view, and I know I'm probably more of the older gamer type of person, but the competitive side of gaming, whilst it is exciting and there is a niche for it, it just seems like a niche. It just seems like it could be... like you guys have sort of mentioned, you've kind of moved away from focusing on one game, and it's a variety of games, but it's really based on the community and the creators. So the creators could play any game, whether a new one comes out, it's more popular. They focus on one for a while and move on. But like, if you have to focus and be competitive in one game, you kind of get stuck in that rut sometimes, and it's super ultra focused on something that might not be able to give you the best opportunity to grow.
100%. I think you have to choose and you're either going to be competitive or you're going to be an entertainer and stream. I don't think it's possible to do both at the same time, unless you're already in the competitive scene and you start streaming because people know who you are, then it's different.
Do you find as the creators that come to you trying to get into the orgs and things like that, they'll try and show off and say, hey, I'm really good at this game. Hey, I'm really good at this. I've won this. Where really that's not really as important to you as an org?
For me, like the people at DM that are like, hey, I'm really good at this. I'm really good at that. Most of the time, I don't even answer.
It's a red
back.
flag right there. Yeah. Like, somebody applied for a job for Fluid the other day, and I wasn't personally, but I basically just came back with him on everything he said with receipts.
Oh, okay.
And was like, I don't know what you're saying you did in these other orgs, but here's the receipts. They have never done a thing that you have talked about. The biggest thing that hurts teams, in which I consider Fluid a team or a family, whatever you want to call it, is egos. I think the first thing, as soon as you walk in the door in this world, into a Discord call or into a game or whatever, the first thing that needs to be dropped is the ego at the door, because your night is not going to go well. The biggest thing that's hurting the Warzone scene right now and the drama that's going on is Scummin and his little group. I don't know if you've been following it, but egos. I mean, they're not being left at the door, and it could be costing them millions of dollars. There could be, I would say they're one of the top teams before all of this. So whether it's a team, whether it's a family, whether it's whatever, people are reaching out, just be yourself. And maybe ego is who you are, but I mean, be personable, introduce yourself, figure out what the other people's interests are so you can somehow connect on that. Like, whenever I'm networking, I need to figure out as fast as possible what is a good topic that we can connect on. Because if there's no connection, it's just like when you're meeting, a girl or a boy or whatever, you want to connect on something. If you want a successful relationship, that's where, a spark starts. So you want to find that reason why we're going to have a good relationship. So, nowadays, maybe in relationships, I don't know. But you don't just cut to the point. Like, you build that connection, you work on that connection, you trust that connection, and then things start to build. You don't just jump off the gun. So for my people listening, because I preach it all the time, please be personal when you're networking. It is the most successful thing you can do. It is the most long-term, healthy thing that you can do, is just be personable. Yeah, don't come in red hot with, I'm good at this, I'm good at this, I'm good at that, because I don't know, maybe other people answer it. I don't, or I answer it and I'll fact check you with receipts and be like, you know what, pal?
Pull up the COD tracker.
Caught me on a bad day. Yeah. I had a long day at work. Yeah, I'm gonna have fun with this. So,
how much time do you think you put into this as your project, as part of your daily life, just as individuals, both of you, compared to everything else that you put time into everything else? How much time does this take up?
It's probably another hobby for me. So I have a couple hobbies, and this it doesn't have to be, but
I don't like the word hobby, Johnny.
Well, I know, but it's not my full-time job, but it's,
no.
Yeah, it's a passion of mine. Just like cycling is a passion. So I cycle a lot. And then, this is another thing. So yeah, you can't, and that's the thing about content creation too, is it takes up so much time. You can't have the entire cake, right? So you have to figure out what you're going to do and what you're going to give up. So, it's the same conversation I had with Reaper. I was like, dude, go take a week to yourself, figure out what your passion really is. And if it's gaming, then whatever you think your passion is, remove that and put gaming in that place, and then you can focus on this. And so that's ultimately, I guess, what he did, and he's been killing it since. But you can't do like 17 sports and try to be a gamer, content creator, org owner, podcaster. Like, you have to sit down, you have to put a couple hours a day into planning and thinking and doing all that.
How long did it take you to find the balance? Like, I can imagine that at some point you probably put in too much time into, say, this, and then find out that maybe there's a diminishing returns, that maybe the more time you put in is actually more damaging, where you need to come in fresh sometimes.
I think that was the biggest issue before Shof got here, was I was trying to do too much, to balance too much on myself, because I had, before Shof got here, and then I had a person before Shof, Ryan. He helped really kind of develop a content plan and calendar around that, so we could start posting more than just, esports related stuff. But before that, I think I was just putting too much on myself, because people would say they would do things, people wouldn't do them, so on and so forth. So again, like I'm very fortunate for the staff, quote unquote, that's in Fluid that kind of drives the boat forward.
What about you, Choff? How have you found your commitment to this? Have you been able to balance it well with your life away from gaming and content, or is it something you're still working on?
Choff doesn't have a life.
I don't have a life. No, I mean, when I'm passionate about something, I just go for it. And I don't know, I have a lot of passion for Fluid. I think it has a lot of potential. And I can even, because I like my receipts, I can open up my drawer here. I've gone through probably 5 thick notebooks in my short time here, just like notes of like what could be done different, what are we going to do next time, how can we change this. And yeah, I mean, it takes away a lot of my time. Like when we started heavy on, when we made the decision to go full-time content, that's what we wanted to do with Fluid. We were up till Discord calls every night till like what, 2-3 a.m. for weeks.
It was a lot.
Like,
It was a lot.
Weeks. So I feel like when things are actually happening, when we're planning, it's a lot more heavy on the works, like not work, like, I mean, I don't call it work because I enjoy it. But you're doing a lot more, like you're pulling longer hours. Like I get home from work and we do whatever I need to do when I go home. And then it's like 10 p.m. my time, which is Eastern, all the way till like 3 a.m. So that's what, 5 hours is like Fluid. So on Thursday, now we have it planned, like we have everything laid out. We have a roadmap, we stick to it, and we change it very rarely. When we started, the content team met every single Thursday. We'd regroup, see where we're at, plan videos for the next month, set recording days, make sure everything was scheduled. Now they have a routine, everyone's used to that. Thursday nights go by a lot quicker. We're down from 2 or 3 hour meetings to like 1 hour meeting every second week. So, you know, as you keep consistent, again, that routine, the workload just starts to do itself. You have content creators, you know, booking their own meeting times now. You have content creators making sure recordings get done now, that recordings get uploaded, that audio issues. Oh, I'm not even going to talk about it. Never mind, scrap that topic.
Yeah.
Making sure that audio is good, making sure that the video recording doesn't need to be scrapped, even though I go over it after anyways, but it just makes my work a lot less, because going into the video, I'll know if I'm going to be in a bad mood or if I'm going to be in a good mood. What is it? Yeah, I mean, at first it was a lot because there was a lot that we wanted to change. And that comes back to what I said earlier. If you plan for things ahead of time, lay out a roadmap, it makes your life a lot easier down the road because you already know what you're doing tomorrow. You're not figuring it out the night before.
I think it goes back to what you were saying. It's all about kind of what we're doing. Are we planning for the next couple months? Are we planning a big project? What we're doing depends kind of how much effort we're putting into it. Yeah, exactly. And I wouldn't say effort, but like how busy we are, how long our meetings are, is our week like filled with, okay, we're going to meet Monday, Wednesday, Thursday, whatever. It just depends what projects we got coming up. We try to keep our weekends free so we can do whatever we want, hang out with whoever. Obviously, that's not always the case, but yeah, because we got to plan out, like if we do a community night, we got to plan out, okay, what graphics do we need, how we're going to market this, where we're going to put this type stuff. So, yeah.
It would definitely change when you're starting up a project, no matter what it is. It's going to take a lot more effort compared to when it's rolling, when it's up and moving, and the wheels are in motion already. When you're planning something, it takes a lot. And I like that you guys are talking about you plan things weeks or months ahead. I think it's very important as well, and something maybe up and coming creators don't really think about too much. They'll post something and like one day and then not have anything to go for the next week or two. Whereas sometimes life happens, things happen, and you can get bogged down by a lot of different things that throw you off your rhythm and your momentum. And it's good to be ahead sometimes.
Yeah, like on our Thursday meetings, every second meeting, so that's every 4th week, I guess, we book the month, 2 months and 3 months, whatever it is, YouTube videos in advance. So like we already know August YouTube schedule. we already know what creators are recording the video. So it's not like last minute, okay, we're doing Phasmophobia today, who's in it? We already know who's doing it. We already know what the video topic is. We've now we're going to change, how much work actually goes into the pre-recording. That's one thing that we're going to really focus on, making sure that we put out quality content instead of just content. So we're going to do more preparation in that as well.
What's something you could go back and give yourself for advice when you were starting out, whether it be advice about the org stuff or yourself as a gamer, creator, anything like that? What's something, number one thing you wish you could go back and tell yourself?
For me, on the org aspect, is to not do it. Not do it. It's too much effort. One thing I go back and tell myself, man, I don't know. I mean, I think it's overall in every aspect of anything I do is I don't have enough confidence in myself that I'm actually doing something pretty good. And then when I think about that, I'm like, I go back to things that I've done really well, and I'm like, okay, there's no reason for me not to have any confidence. So I think I just overthink so many things. So I think going back, starting Fluid, some things I wouldn't overthink. I would just do it. Just go ahead and do it. Stop overthinking it. And then, because sometimes you miss the moment, right? If you're thinking you miss that time where you can actually implement something because either the trend's dead or it's just not the right time anymore, that those people you needed are not there. So just don't overthink things. Just go ahead and do it. And that's anything in life, but especially in the gaming org thing.
So my answer is the complete opposite. I used to be somebody who used to dwell in the past a lot. I had a lot of regrets in life. And recently, within the last 2 years, I'd say, I've just changed my look at everything. I believe everything happens for a reason. I wasn't supposed to do things this way with Fluid back then, or I wasn't supposed to do things with my content back then. Yes, I guess I can look at it a different perspective. How could I have done it differently so that I can learn more in the future? I can look at it like that. But, I mean, could I go back and change things? No, because it's gotten to me where I am. And I believe I'm on the right path to doing something better. Just need to be patient and let the plan go about. Because I used to think like that, and there's nothing wrong with it. I was a happy guy. There were some things that I'd be like too hard on myself on, like, oh, I didn't say it. Darn, I really could have done it this way, and I really wish I did. And then you just get in that downward spiral that just never ends. And it was really hitting me like years. I just couldn't get those spirals away until I just said, you know what, it's over. Nothing I can do about it now. Everything happens for a reason. There's a reason that I didn't do it because of that. I met my girlfriend, and because of this, I had this awesome job that I do IRL, because if I did that thing, I wouldn't have been doing this 100%. I wouldn't have met her. I'd be living in the States instead of living in Canada, like stuff like that. I don't know. I think how I look at things, that's just me.
No, I think that's good. I like that. I like that because obviously you can learn from your mistakes and you don't have to dwell on them, but you keep pushing forward, and obviously making a mistake will get you to where you are now. And like you said, who knows, if you didn't make a mistake, maybe you're somewhere completely different.
Exactly. Yeah, I was meant to make that mistake, and I'm gonna learn from it. So
exactly. Well, I like the way you guys have been learning lessons as well with Fluid and learning as you go and pushing things into bigger and better directions. It's been a pleasure having you guys on, and thank you so much for taking the time, man.
Appreciate it.
Hopefully we can run it back one day.
Of course. Thank you.
Yeah, 100%. We'll always be in touch, so I'll be following as you make it to the big game.
Yeah, we'll
podcast
see.
Scene.
Yes, sir.
We'll see.
The $100 million Spotify contract.
Yeah, let's see that.
Yeah.
Thanks for coming on, guys. I appreciate you.
Yeah, appreciate you, man. Thank you.